thing I like about science is that there are answers to everything, and it's just a matter of finding it.
Science is a way of thinking, a way of dealing with your environment, a way of understanding.
It was just 2 weeks into the lab environment where I actually got to design my own experiments and not do the experiments that somebody else told me to do, but actually, come up with experiments myself. That's when I really knew that I was going to go into science.
It wasn't really until I met a chemistry teacher in high school that I became really interested. And this was a person who was outstanding. He was very, very enthusiastic. After that, I basically just tried to pursue a career in science. I liked to try to understand how things work.
So when I was a young kid, they used to call me the $1 Million Kid because they said, if you give us $1 for every question you asked, we'd be millionaires. So I had a number of questions when I was very young. I was always very interested in how things worked and interested in the natural world.
I'm interested in how the brain works and how we create thoughts and how our thoughts many times become muddled or aberrant.
I'm a neuroscientist and I work on taste and smell, mostly on smell and olfaction. And odor is easily 300 different molecules. All of them come in at the same time. They stimulate 1,000 different receptors. You start studying basic processing and see how the brain works.
I was lucky enough to find a new enzyme, something that no one else had looked at before, no one else found. And every time I would do that assay, I would get the same result. It was a revelation for me that biology, that life, that chemical things can produce the same result over and over again.
In a nutshell, we're trying to find cancer biomarkers. And we're able to monitor proteins that are molecules in the cell, and we're able to monitor differences between cancer cells and normal cells so that we can find the proteins that signify cancer so that we can have a method of detection of cancer.
We have about 5,500 cord bloods that have been collected locally within the state of Colorado, stored on site and available for transplants all around the world. They may call me and say, we've got a new patient. This patient has a very aggressive form of leukemia. He's stat, he's on the top of your list. And you have to use all the tools available to you to pick the right donors. And that interaction, what we call search consultation, is a large part of what I do.
By law, if you go to surgery and the surgeon removes something from your body, it has to go to the laboratory and it has to be looked at by a pathologist under the microscope. And what the pathologist tells the doctor about what's wrong with your tissue determines how patients are treated for breast cancer or any kind of other diseases.
We're involved in bringing products to the patient, taking them from a concept and creating a real world living product. And to me, that's where the excitement is. You know, it's a wonderful thing to think of a new technology, but when you can go to work every day and say, the things I'm helping to bring to the market are going to save thousands and thousands of lives, it's amazingly powerful. And that's what we're involved with on a daily basis.
When I was in undergrad even, I didn't know that there would be so much writing involved with science. But once you've discovered something, you have to be able to communicate it to other people.
I spent a lot of time trying to write down my ideas, write down the observations we've made, and connect those observations to a body of literature that exists in the scientific world so that we can get a better understanding of how our discoveries fit into the broader world of science.
The things that I learned in medical school are no longer relevant because the information has changed that much. We didn't have things like genomics and pharmacogenetics when I went to medical school. And yet, those are the biggest, hottest topics right now.
And there's always what's new and what are we going to create now. And that's what makes science pretty exciting.
You really get to ask great questions, and you get to be on the cutting edge of discovery.
They're still looking for a lot of cures. There's still cures for cancer, Alzheimer's, all types of things. So definitely the biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies are looking for new blood to bring into their companies to bring in new ideas and try to figure some of these things out.
There are a huge variety of careers in biosciences. I mean, amazing variety. Many of the companies that are here in Colorado, and there's quite a large contingent of bioscience companies here, you know, they're not big on advertising.
Try to get a summer job with one of the local companies.
Almost everybody has an internship program.
Primarily network. That's my number one recommendation. And others, again, try to see if you can get into something related to that industry.
We have tremendous respect for people who work through college, and if they come out of college with a 3.0, but they worked full-time, that counts so much in their favor.
If you want to stay here, you can stay here and be in this industry and be successful.
At the moment, there's a large shortage of trained people to work in histotechnology.
We've been growing at over 20% per year for our entire history. And I think that's indicative of the entire bioscience industry.
The governor is bringing in, or making an effort to bring in, more resources in here, especially in the renewable energy area. They require degrees in biology, chemistry, all the sciences. So this whole area, this whole corridor, little by little, will be growing more in the sciences.
One thing that I really like about Colorado, and especially about this institution, is that it has open doors. So this is a place where I've been able to collaborate with people who are doing work on physiology, who are doing work on engineering, really wide open place, and that makes a huge difference.
Students who are really excited about doing something, participating in something new every day. Science would be a really great career for them because the experiments change as you move along in your project. You never do the same thing twice.
The problems we work on are not just theoretical ideas swimming out in space somewhere. The problems we work on are real problems that affect real human beings.
You downplayed the matching, but without the matching, there would be no transplant. So it is, you should feel good about what you do, and they want me to shake your hand. I'd rather do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, I really do.
Well,
That's amazing.
thank you for your appreciation.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing.
The beauty of science or a scientific career is that it prepares you for independence. You pursue the questions that interest you most.
And this is the part that I really like about science, is the creativity aspect, coming up with new innovative ideas.
All of these things become sort of exciting and satisfying in terms of learning if you have a curiosity.
Knowledge is just exploding. In the area where most of the excitement is right now is in the sciences. And the knowledge that's being gained today is going to make a huge difference in how we all live tomorrow.
Feeling that one is a part of the history of discovery and that you are making contributions that will ultimately further human knowledge is really an exciting part of being a scientist.
The ability to think independently, to make hypotheses that interest you, and then to pursue these scientifically and hopefully in the end find an answer that's reproducible over and over again and basically find a little bit of truth about the world, about our biology, about the universe.